A review can carry a lot of weight. It can affect record sales, distribute films, and close restaurants. Being a reviewer has thus always been a controversial profession. But the profession has been changing in some troubling ways, because what do you mean reviewers are charging tens of thousands of dollars for reviews, sending fake cease and desist letters, and filming dead bodies for rage bait? Hey everybody, I'm Remy the Rat from Ratatouille. God, what a wonderful film. In this video, I aim to talk about the concerning developments of online food reviewing and how influencers are ruining the practice altogether. Incentives are driving people towards this profession who might not always have the best intentions. So there's this guy named Wasil. He's the one who reportedly sent the fake cease and desist. Wasil finds trendy restaurants and eats massive quantities of takeaway in his car. Okay, how trendy are we talking?
I'm in Dubai chocolate and Labubu heaven at juice time right now.
That's pretty trendy. Alright, what the hell kind of reason does this guy have to be sending fake cease and desists? Now, I heard through the grapevine that his audience was a little pissed at him. So I did some research and I found some screenshots. Some screenshots say that he charges for making content. Alright, pause, because now I really am curious. Is this guy a reviewer or a mukbanger? I'm asking because I have no idea how to answer that. His website says that he does both, but his videos are simultaneously a review and a mukbang. The short form format seems to have merged these two content styles together into a new food content style that I think is susceptible to morally questionable practices. Wasil is trying things.
Yeah, I have to try these.
He's giving out scores.
This burrito is straight up a 10 out of 10.
His channel outwardly seems to be centered in food discovery.
I'm back in Philly trying to find the best cheesesteak, and I just stumbled upon the holy grail of cheesesteaks.
He reports his opinions on restaurants that he thinks his audience will like, although he doesn't do something very important and expected of a good critic. Critique the food. He likes everything he eats. And I'm not joking about this. I could only find one recent short form video with this style of him not enjoying the food, and that food is Arby's, which is like, we're obviously gonna strike that one from the record.
Wasil saying something is good? That's rare, let's fix it.
Is that a joke? 99% of what this man eats makes him whimper.
Oh my god.
Oh.
So I have to ask myself, is that food really making him whimper, or is it the sweet, sweet dollar bills that's making him whimper? I don't know, but here's where the plot begins to thicken. This is how this whole controversy broke out. I found some screenshots leaked from a Pittsburgh business. According to these screenshots, Wasil originally reached out to make a video using this restaurant owner's food. More specifically, Wasil gave the restaurant owner his rates. Drumroll please, 1.2 thousand for one Instagram reel and 2 stories, and 1.8 thousand for a cross-platform bundle. The business owner did not really like the rates. In fact, he found them ridiculous and then leaked the screenshots. Wasil is allowed to have rates for videos, and on paper, it's not unethical to get paid to eat food. It's also completely fine to do a paid promotion for a restaurant, so long as it's disclosed. I'm chewing on this concept a little. Is this practice not just buying a good review, but with extra steps? On paper, it's supposed to just be an honest reaction to the food. But is true uninfluenced honesty even possible under these circumstances? I don't know about you, but if I were to get paid over $1,000 to eat food in my car, that's gonna make the food taste really good. I don't think that anyone is necessarily lying when they're paid to eat food and they give it rave reviews, but I do think that there's probably an unspoken agreement to bake in a glowing recommendation for the food, or at least a heavy influence at play. This style of "I can't believe it's not a review" reaction videos are everywhere on the internet. Some influencers reportedly have rates of $20,000, which is Looney Tunes. This is unfortunately a very normal practice. Now they can dance around this all they want, but in my eyes, philosophically, these are paid reviews, and I'm going to call them reviews moving forward. Whenever you get an influencer pop up on your feed and they just love the food that they're eating, am I saying that they have rates? Am I even saying that they got the food for free, which would also influence how much they enjoy the food? Absolutely not. The FTC typically requires that content creators disclose whether they were compensated for making an endorsement in the form of content. That includes money, free food, free products, and what have you. And content creators famously disclose every single time they receive something from another party in exchange for content, right? Right? Well, sometimes creators don't think that they have to disclose in certain circumstances. Sometimes they just forget to disclose. Shoot. Darn it. It also seems as if content creators are hyper aware that people don't like ads. I don't know about you, but I typically swipe away when I get an ad. But creators want you to watch their ads. Their performance sometimes even impacts how much they get paid in future deals. Unsurprisingly, I'm more likely to watch an advertisement if I don't know it's an advertisement. This creates a perfect storm that often makes promotional content so incredibly hard to spot on the internet. And I think that this is one of many elements that's making online food reviewers untrustworthy. And let me be extremely clear, I don't like money influencing opinions and the very concept of deceptive ads, but that's not the main topic of this video. If your favorite food influencer does a lot of paid promo videos, then that's totally cool. I'm not trying to roast anyone for having a business or trying to keep a roof over their head, you know, so long as they consistently and properly disclose their paid endorsements. You can't trust anyone's opinion on the internet, especially if they consistently land promo deals. It is what it is. Woke Karen transparency check super quick. The only time I've ever taken money from a business was for this anime box lamp thing. I got 2 of these and $10, so I'm rolling in it, baby. I'm definitely not sponsoring this or selling this in this video, by the way. But either way, moving forward, please take my lamp recommendations with a grain of salt. I am compromised. You cannot trust me in that field. Anyways, let's bring it back to Wasil. According to Troy, the business owner who leaked these DMs, Wasil got angry with this business and allegedly sent a message reading, "Hi Troy, my attorney has been trying to reach you. There's a cease and desist in your inbox." Troy then stated that he got a lawyer to look over this who said that it was fake lawyer bullshit. Now, these are all screenshots from a business owner, and I'm not sure if that remark was an accusation that Wasil or someone in his life impersonated a lawyer and sent a fake cease and desist, but if so, that sounds pretty legal. But in the world of influencers, somehow that would be far from the first time something like this has happened. Surprising to absolutely nobody, the practice of paid restaurant partnership and really the entire food influencer industry is a hotbed for scams. Influencers have reportedly ghosted restaurants that gave them free food or money to make videos. Some are even alleged to have built an inorganic following in order to secure these collabs and partnerships. Viewbots cannot eat food and will not be patronizing any businesses. I think that this kind of behavior from influencers is a problem. And I know that that is not a profound statement. Oh, influencers are up to some deranged activity. Nothing gets past this guy. Well, you might want to stick around. The depravity and systems that drive people towards this behavior never cease to astonish. For example, here is an influencer filming a dead body while at an anniversary dinner. Play the video.
Planning on filming our anniversary dinner, but when we walked up, there was a dead body outside, so I knew it was going to be an eventful one. These Oysters Rock are insane. We enjoyed our romantic evening under the red and blue strobe light.
Who the hell does she think she is? Leanne Paul? Because of Logan Paul in the Forest video? Okay. Okay, but how did we get to this point? How did things get this bad? My first thought was that maybe the position of food review influencer just attracts dishonest individuals who are more interested in money than credibility. Or maybe it's a copy what's successful situation. Both are reasonable enough theories, but they don't really satisfy me. It has to be more of a system. And then I thought, well, what typically goes viral? Not a hard question at all. Rage bait. That's what usually goes viral. So is rage bait connected to this in any way? How about Wasil? Nah, Wasil has never made any rage bait content. Oh wait, yes he has. When I saw this cease and desist story, I thought, this guy looks so familiar. And then it clicked. I didn't recognize him because he wasn't pouring a gallon of marinara sauce on a plate of spaghetti. This is the annoying food guy who made those horrible videos that everyone hated. You probably know exactly who this person is.
Ice cream, chocolate syrup, sprinkler. Okay. Perfect!
Remember that? Remember those videos? It's like we're in the pandemic again. I previously undersold Wasil. He used to run TikTok with rage bait. These make a fuck ton of food videos were designed to have people outraged over the mess and the wild and excessive waste of food. Although I think he said a couple times that he uses expired food for these videos. In the years moving forward, Wasil flipped the script to charity bait, making the same type of videos where he makes excess food, but He feeds it to homeless people. But now he is very anti-food waste. In this switch up, he even calls out other creators for engaging in the same practice he visually engaged in. This includes stoking a years-old beef with a creator by the name of Topper Guild, who stole his content in like 2021. Even though this switch up is charitable, it's still just designed to make you outraged at someone else. Rage bait and appealing to outrage is flexible. It can contort itself to be presented as anything else. But that's the thing. I believe that normalizing the use of rage bait, having it be so central to the identity of a channel, it's bad news, because the deceptive tricks might not begin and end with rage bait. It's entirely possible that they can blossom into using other tricks and schemes to further or protect one's status, such as something resembling the 2026 controversy with Wasil allegedly sending fake cease and desists. I'm running on pure speculation here. I was looking for a deeper conclusion when most people would say that influencers are depraved and weird and just wrap it up and go about their day. But then, I started examining influencers as a whole. I could start to trace patterns. I started to notice similarities in how people are posting online. Not just Wasil, let's zoom out for a second. Charging thousands of dollars for reviews, outrage retention and engagement tricks, and even using potentially illegal tactics to punish small businesses that have wronged you in some way may all sound unrelated, but I believe that they are structurally intertwined. And rage bait could explain quite a lot of it. It's inescapable, and honestly, a little bit of rage bait here and there is a treat. I think it's fine. I think it could be done harmlessly, but I wouldn't make a habit out of it. When used in excess, even if you don't do anything as shady as allegedly sending fake cease and desists, it can completely destroy your credibility. But it wasn't until I saw two reviewers get absolutely slam dunked on by a famous TV show host for being ignorant and culturally insensitive for views, until I realized how badly having rage bait be your whole gimmick can backfire on you. I am, of course, talking about the VIP list and the more immediate dangers of rage bait. Let me introduce you to Meg Radis and Audrey Jungans. I am also very familiar with their content. They run a page called The VIP List. And I'm mainly familiar with it because in the past it has pissed me off quite a lot. Two New York City girls going to the most lavish and high-end food spots in the city. But they're not your average reviewers. Let me just show you one of their videos and you'll know exactly what I'm talking about.
When Vice News calls you the Regina George of New York City foodies, there's only one thing to do, and that's celebrate with a mountain of caviar. Go cry about it.
Yeah, so the gimmick of their channel is they put on the most unbearable, snobby, spoiled, out-of-touch, disrespectful, and teeth-gnashing performances every time they do voiceovers. And in the comment sections, it sparks the exact response you might think it would spark. Their tagline is, "Go cry about it." I've seen one person defend these two in a comment section from years ago where they called it satire. And that is certainly a take. It's one thing to be self-aware, but you can't just claim satire to excuse awful behavior. Come on, Tim. I slept with your wife as a satiristic commentary on the fragility of marriage. What, you hate free speech all of a sudden? Here is what influencer parody and satire looks like.
Come with me to try the viral 5 Mile High salmon meringue pie at Buns A-Blazin'. This gently used rotating dog spa is the most unlikely Wi-Fi hotspot in Sacramento, Mississippi.
How does a satire review channel even work? Take news reporting satire like The Onion. Yeah, it's making a statement, but it takes 2 seconds to realize that it's not real. Reviewing is just like news reporting, but you're reporting your critical opinion. So if you are genuinely a critic, I hope that you are not written off as satire. The whole point of being a critic is you want people to take your critique seriously. Let me just say this, it would be very, very unfortunate if they tried to write this off as satire. And you might be wondering, sure, negative emotions attract comments, but why is it popular? Why do so many people do this? Why is it an inescapable aspect of the internet? It's not because these creators are inherently terrible people. On the internet, attention is the most valuable resource imaginable. Attention is monetization, targeted ads, data that can be sold. Appealing to emotions is extremely effective at grabbing attention. So when these two make an obviously out-of-touch statement to open up their review,
Sometimes you just gotta say fuck it and spend $80 on a finger sandwich. Yes, this egg toast with caviar was $80, but honestly, it was 100% worth it.
it was so annoying that it jolted you out of your boredom. Algorithm audits show that users on Twitter are given emotionally driven content in the form of political political posts that appeal to anger, outrage, stuff like that. But these users say that they don't want to see this content. They may engage with it, but they want it gone. It doesn't make them feel good. From the platform's perspective, that's irrelevant. These platforms are enriched by your attention, so it would make sense that they would get it any way that they can. This is a great time to mention that rage and anger releases cortisol and adrenaline in your body, which makes you stressed and miserable. This is also a great time to do a hydration check. Did you drink water recently? So it stands to reason that the attention economy isn't necessarily broken, but in its development in being as efficient as possible, it's evolving into something else. And it is making everything, including review content, outwardly insulting.
If the grilled cheese doesn't come with truffle and an orgasmic cheese pull, it's going straight in the trash. And if the spread doesn't cover the entire table, a Wendy's 4 for $4 is calling your name.
You see, most people would be pissed at the calling you poor part, but I'm pissed because that is way too much fucking truffle. It's gonna take a gallon of mouthwash to get that truffle taste out of your mouth. It seems as if every year actors are competing more and more and more for your anger. I call this the outrage economy, and I think that it's a source of corruption that's leading to quite a lot of harm. To be clear, when I say corrupt, I'm not using a legal framework. I'm not saying that these people are criminals. I am saying that from what I have seen, outrage competition is influencing specific behavior related to how people are posting on the internet. That is the corruption that I'm referring to. And among all of the things that it can do, it can also destroy your credibility. Back to these two. They appeared on my radar yet again last year. And that's because they pissed a bunch of people off again. More than usual this time. Like, they really pissed people off.
This is why I've lost faith in the Michelin system. Sema is the only Indian restaurant in all of New York with a Michelin star. And here's the real tea. I could name 15 better Indian restaurants right now, including the biryani cart outside of my apartment. The gunpowder dosa was the best thing on the menu, and the short rib was good. I get that this is Southern Indian, so I can't expect a tiki masala on the menu, but why did every sauce taste the same? The chicken tasted like a lamb chop. The shrimp tasted like the chicken. Every entree was drowned in this mystery sauce, and I almost went full Helen Keller when it got in my eye.
I'm sorry, just imagine a review getting negatively affected because you got food in your eye. Like, what is that? Yeah, 1 star. There was a rock in my shoe and it just totally ruined the experience. That little insensitive Helen Keller joke amongst, tiki masala, pronouncing ethnic food names incorrectly, it earned them a lot of, this shit is rage bait comments. Sema, the restaurant in the video, is a South Indian fine dining establishment in New York City that has been awarded a Michelin star. Indian food has quite the troubled history of having Western consumers calling the cuisine disgusting, mysterious, uncleanly, and stomach virus inducing. People found the comments these two made in line with this, but things got kicked up a notch when they got a response from Padma Lakshmi, the model, comedian, activist, and TV host, most notably hosting the show Top Chef.
There was this really annoying video that was brought to my attention, and I'm pretty sure Michelin doesn't give a shit about you either, or what you think.
The VIP list was reached out to by Today.com for a response, and the duo said this: social media gives us the freedom to spotlight what we think is great and call it out when it's not. If we don't vibe with a place, that's not a scandal, it's just content. It's commentary. It's satire. We'll all be a monkey's uncle. It is satire, according to them, not me. I think that manipulation is a better term, to be completely honest. This statement really is a kiss of death. These creators became way too comfortable with pissing people off. So much so they had to degrade their own credibility and standing. They're literally telling people that they shouldn't be taken seriously when they give reviews. As a reviewer, why would you do that? Either moving forward past the controversy or just apologizing would have been way less damaging, but I'm glad that they told us this. It's very revealing. The outrage economy doesn't just have the capacity to change your behavior and make you act in perhaps the way Wasil did, it also has the potential to devalue you, insist that people don't take you seriously, ironically, upon your own avoidance of controversy. And this is a wonderful time to remind everyone that if your whole shtick is rage bait, you are not popular because people like you. You are popular because people hate your guts. That's not a solid foundation to stand on. I'm not the type to obsess over numbers or anything, but after this video, it does seem like their views went down. This leads me to believe that at least some of their audience abandoned them after all of this. They didn't have a strong history of spreading joy and helping people to fall back on. It's really easy to turn your back on a channel like this. And this is an outcome when you enter the reviewing game with the wrong intentions. Many people do this and they do it for all sorts of reasons, but the main reason is power. And also, free food. It shouldn't be surprising that so many influencers want to be reviewers. Critics with audiences have power. They can change the world with their opinions, so long as people will listen. Now in the food world, not everyone can be Antonigo from Ratatouille. Remember? He's the critic from that movie. Clout is power for influencers, and when people gain power, they're known to sometimes weaponize it. And when an influencer gains clout, even if only a little bit of clout, you can almost certainly count on them weaponizing it over extremely petty reasons. And many reviewers with clout weaponize accountability. We will all learn this very soon, but do not weaponize accountability for selfish reasons. It will likely end very poorly. Many creators think like this: if I have a bunch of followers, I have a bunch of people who can review bomb your restaurant and make you pay for making me feel not special. And sure, I bet sometimes small businesses take advantage of influencers, but that's certainly not always the case. So whenever this happens, is it always rooted in justice? Maybe it's an attempt to trigger an emotional response. Tap into your sense of justice, your desire to get a front row seat to someone bad getting punished, because it's satisfying when bad people get what they deserve. It's not even that it's performative. It's rage bait. And before we jump into it, we gotta restock. Exit the kitchen, go to the grocery store to pick up some snacks. There are entire content farms dedicated to cashing in on this brand of emotionally driven content. One well-known offender is Cartnarks. There's a lot to say about Cartnarks. I'll only talk about what's relevant to this discussion. So I'll leave it to my audience to fill folks in the comment section on Cartnarks' whole deal. And I promise this is all very relevant to food influencers. So this YouTube channel is a rage bait farm. All of these videos are about confronting individuals who don't put their shopping carts away. Public shaming plays a huge part in this process. I mean, look at this thumbnail. This study uses a term called accountability entertainment, which I think is incredibly helpful to understand incentives. The study makes the observation that this channel does not seek out to structurally fix the conditions that lead to the problem of stranded grocery carts. It's about high stress and escalating behavior of those confronted. And more importantly, it's about the ritual of participation in justice. It's about using justice as a spectacle that can be exploited without solving. Call out and accountability culture is very often exploitative content that targets your emotions. And I'm not saying that in the same way that a conservative shakes their fist at cancel culture. I'm saying that even if it's well-intentioned, that mechanism is still at play. And we can find so much of this behavior by taking a look at the examples Dottie Snacks covers. Dottie Snacks is a short-form channel that's all about calling out problematic behaviors of influencers. He starts most of his videos with this.
Come with me.
Him and his family own a snack company called Dottie Snacks. They sell stuff like popcorn with South Asian inspired ingredients. While marketing the snack company, he went the route of working with the influencers to organically promote the product, and has thus dealt with some really nasty behavior. And we can find so many examples of these behaviors simply by taking a trip to Dottie Snacks' homepage. So I originally included a miniature segment on Dottie Snacks to prove one point. This industry is just crawling with horrible behavior. Narcissism, cruelty, manipulation, threats. I am pointing you all to this page because it's just an endless stream of these examples, including using accountability as a weapon. Like this one right here.
This is the worst restaurant I've been to in my life.
So Farah here is an influencer who claims an Italian restaurant treated her poorly because of the way she looks. It turns out she actually didn't want to pay for her appetizer because she didn't like the type of bread they used for her bruschetta. She is now weaponizing her millions of followers to negatively review this place on Google.
What a wonderful example to prove my point. If a food influencer does something deranged, 9 times out of 10, this account is going to cover it. And pretty much everything that this account covers emboldens my belief that this is the product of a system of incentives that social media food content creators face. You could trace so much of this behavior back to the outrage economy. However, after writing this segment, I was faced with a contradiction, and I want to be intellectually honest here. It dawned on me that I wasn't confronting the idea that this page, Dottie Snacks, shares a lot of similarities with accountability entertainment pages, mainly the mechanisms that tug at your emotions. And do not get it twisted, I am not going after this page. I like Dottie Snacks. Influencers rarely face any legal trouble for doing this shit. That's why people call this guy a vigilante. Even the language these articles are using are very justice coded. It's important to note that I am not talking about Dottie Snacks as an individual. He himself, while using this account, is uplifting underrepresented restaurants. He's spreading awareness. He's helping those affected by this horrible behavior in shouting out these businesses. You could say that he is attempting to structurally fix the industry, but that doesn't necessarily disqualify the idea that this page engages in outrage capture. I think part of the potency and virality of this channel comes from feeling like you're participating in justice over the phone screen. It's certainly attention grabbing and entertaining. Almost every post is a call out trying to keep these influencers held accountable. I'm not calling this a drama page. I'm not even saying that his audience is performative or lacking in praxis. I'm saying that this page is centered in serving justice and making people outrage at those who did something wrong. This channel's content is very effective at keeping people engaged. People engaged with this page are very invested in holding people accountable over the internet, and that is a feature that is central in accountability entertainment. I'm bringing up this page not to ironically call him out, but instead to highlight just how inescapable emotionally charged content is. It's fine to consume this content, but I think at the very least we should be able to recognize it. Recognize that it's not black and white, there are nuances, complexities, and you might be saying, isn't this video a form of accountability entertainment? That's a fair question. I say no. I'm not trying to extend a ritual of justice for anyone. Please do not leave this video and go to any of these content creators' pages and dogpile them there. But you might consider my talking about these figures and how I discuss them as a form of calling out. To be honest with you, like looking back on this script, I am guilty of using justice-forward language to get some of these points across. And that's what's really messy about all this. You can never be certain about anyone's intentions. But sometimes, in other cases, you can be pretty damn close to certain. Hell hath no fury, like a medium-sized influencer with a bruised ego. Time to collect the bounty on Vincent, the French toast clout slinger. An influencer by the name of Vincent was reached out to by a cafe to come and try their French toast. And according to them, it turned out to be the worst experience ever. This is a stand-up individual. He's gotta be the most relatable person I have ever seen on the internet.
I just missed my $13,000 flight because of New York City traffic. I booked the flight with Virgin Points and they refused to refund it. And ANA, the airline I was supposed to fly, did not rebook me. I've never been angrier in my life.
What a tortured soul. So back to the French toast. Vincent responded and allegedly gave his rates for a collab. The screenshots say that his rate is $4,000, although I believe Vincent contests these claims. Assuming these screenshots are true, damn, Vincent must be good. That means he's worth more than 2 Wasil cross-post bundles. Maybe that's how he's affording all those airplane tickets. Anyways, back to the screenshots. The cafe said no. I wonder why. Vincent said, okay, how about 2 breakfast sandwiches and a drink for a story post? And then the cafe said no. They offered him 1 sandwich and a drink for 1 story post. Or he could swing by casually, which I'm assuming means as a customer. Vincent then said, okay, I'll swing by, without clarifying or agreeing to either option. I'll go ahead and assume that the cafe thought he would just do a normal food review where you buy the food and give an honest review. You know, how food reviews normally work. Vincent got turned away. You fools! Yeah, I've seen enough. Vincent, go ahead and cancel this restaurant for me.
New Cafe in New York City DM'd me saying they love my content and they want me to go in and try their new French toast. I gave them my rate and they said
they didn't have money for us.
I told them that I'd go in and try it, and if I like it, I might post a few stories.
And they said they couldn't afford it. I should have known there was gonna be an issue when I heard that.
She goes back to the kitchen to talk to the owner, and when she gets back, she tells me that they can't serve me.
They couldn't even afford a second French toast or a drink that would have cost them maybe like $5.
I thought I'd be nice and do them a favor and commute 40 minutes to go try this
Stupid French toast.
This turned out to be one of the
Worst experiences I've ever had.
One of the worst experiences he's ever had. Someone who's haunted by the guilt of unsuccessfully performing CPR on someone? A nightmare-inducing incident of getting beaten unconscious and robbed in an alley? Child's play. Try paying for a French toast sandwich like all these fucking poor peasants. Speaking in layman's terms, it appears as if Vincent tried to cancel a restaurant for not being clear about the conditions surrounding him getting a free breakfast sandwich. Ah, but you see, it's not actually about a breakfast sandwich. It all ties back to accountability entertainment. But Vincent is doing something interesting here. He is certainly not an outrage farmer, but I do think that he is using accountability as a weapon in his arsenal. A manipulative tactic that influencers can draw upon when they feel backed into a corner. But he's not doing so in a calculated manner. He's not running an operation like Cartnarks. This seemed personal to me, and I think it goes without saying that he most likely had a lapse in judgment. Maybe he really did think that people would actually take to the streets over an influencer not getting a breakfast sandwich they were supposedly entitled to. It all comically backfired. I don't think that Vincent went into the food reviewing biz with the right intentions. It seems like he was just more interested in the power that comes with being a food reviewer with the clout, controlled by one's own desires, like a puppet, or perhaps like Linguini. Let me know in the comment sections if these Ratatouille jokes are landing. A lot of people want to write this off as an influencer just being entitled, and this could very well be a mask-off moment. However, I'm worried that this potent formula of gaining views and engagement can influence behavior to even more extreme levels than this. Turn reviewers somehow even more cruel and entitled than they were before social media. Things can get a lot darker than this. Blacker. As black as male. You get what I'm putting down? We know that the emotionally exploitative internet does many things. It might influence your behavior, it might destroy your reputation when careless, it might drive people to weaponize their audience. But it also might drive you into weaponizing your own reviews for free food, abandoning the expected professional conduct of food reviewers. I believe the outrage economy is eroding the bare minimum principles of food reviewing. Let's take a walk down Glamorama Alley. Now there's a good chance this is already on your radar. Drama pages on TikTok and probably YouTube too grabbed a hold of this story almost immediately, sunk their talons in, but I couldn't help but add this story in because it's so important to understand these patterns that are making influencers act like this. Like Vincent, I did not know who Glamorama was until recently. In fact, there's really no possible way I could have seen a video from Glamorama before she got into all this trouble. She makes food review content in Scottsdale, Arizona, and she only had a couple thousand followers at the height of her popularity. It's always the small to mid-sized creators who do the craziest shit, I'm telling you. Her personal style of content reminds me of the VIP list. She presents herself as a harsh critic, a do not fuck with me type of vibe.
If you want to get treated like shit while eating the most delicious pastries, have I got the place for you. You couldn't pay me to get one more item out of this pastry case. I have tried 4 already, and all of them are terrible.
So already we are battling with the same idea I presented earlier with the VIP list. But Glamorama got some backlash following a video where she slammed a bakery called JL Patisserie and accused them of using fake ingredients. Seriously, she was pretty critical of this place.
People, I do not mind spending $10 on a pastry if they are really good, but you cannot use fake ass ingredients. That pistachio color is about as natural as my boobs, ass, and waistline.
JL Patisserie responded to that review, and that video showed up on my For You page because this is a real deal patisserie. The owner showed their very real ingredients, some of which they imported from Europe, in response to the fake comments. And the owner herself, on camera in the video, accused Glamorama of essentially blackmail and buying a good review for free meals. And then Glamorama responded with this video.
God damn, someone finally stood up to me. You know what? I gotta say, fucking kudos, for real.
Yeah, we're beating the allegations with this one. She denied trying to sell a good review and showed receipts. But in one of the receipts, she says this: when it's a collab, I will still do the honest review and highlight/focus on what I enjoyed and be softer/quicker on my words with what I may not like as much. If the experience is terrible, I won't post anything for the kindness and hospitality. The meal will need to be comped, including the gratuity. So, in practice, de facto, she's saying that she will leave out undesirable opinions for free food. Here's where we're starting to run into some problems with getting something for a review, even if that something is free food. She's logically implying that if she doesn't get paid in free food for the review, she might still make a review, and it might be harsh, so you better choose carefully. So, and this is all my opinion, by the way, the VIP list used RageBait to turn a review channel into entertainment. Vincent used RageBait to turn a review channel into a weapon. Glamorama is going a step further than both. She is, again allegedly, leveraging outrage, you know, having a very spicy negative review as a tool for what, in my eyes, resembles a shakedown. Relying on outrage has the power to drive people to do wild things. Do not underestimate it. In theory, people can deploy it in miniature food coercion campaigns. I wouldn't be surprised if this is happening everywhere all the time. This has something that has the potential to end careers for non-social media publication reviewers and forever disgrace and tarnish their names. Say what you will about how reviewing worked before social media. There was less democracy and more barriers, but at least there were editorial standards. At least there were more expectations to uphold principles and professional conduct. These protections don't just help the publications, they also protect the reviewer because, I'm no legal expert, but I think that this situation Glamorama found herself in had the potential to get her into some legal trouble. This isn't fun and edgy, this is starting to feel despotic, like Skinner. Not Skinner from Ratatouille, Principal Skinner from The Simpsons, delightfully devilish Seymour. Glamorama posted a final text apology on her page, and since this controversy, she has not posted any sort of follow-up. Well, I hope that she learned something. Anyways, the JL Patisserie video blew up. People fell in love with the business owner because she's hardworking, charming, and has a lovable French accent. Keith Lee went out of his way to review JL Patisserie and gave it glowing reviews. This person who I just mentioned is a food reviewer who is often praised for not being a weirdo when it comes to online food reviewing. He's fair, charitable yet critical, and from what I've seen, he is transparent about his finances. As in, he discloses how much he paid for the food he's reviewing. A subtle little nod to the fact that there are food review influencers who don't engage in RageBait or outrage farming. Reviewers who, because of that, aren't poisoning the internet, aren't corrupted in these ways, and who build platforms of positivity and discovery and approach food with curiosity instead of exploitation. One of my faves is Carissa Eats. But I have another favorite, and it's interesting. She somehow doesn't fit into this category. What if I were to tell you that there exists a food reviewer who is more disrespectful than the VIP list, Vincent, and Glamorama all combined? She gives the harshest reviews I have ever seen. This person calls the food disgusting, inedible, compares it to bodily fluids and motor oil. And despite all of that, somehow is both immune to this influence and has developed her own brand of non-problematic anger farming. There are no ethical billionaires in the outrage economy, except for this one. I am pleased to open up the cruelty-free RageBait tackle box of Picky Eater Zach. Let me set the stage for you. I was scrolling on my phone and then I came across this lady who fucking hated her Wingstop order.
Ooh, they got some nasty ranch. It's so much sweetness going on in my mouth. This is sick.
I've been there. Like, the next day or two, I was scrolling and I got another video from her, and this lady fucking hated her Starbucks drink.
Ugh, the Smurf is gross.
I hate Starbucks too. Eventually I got another, and pattern recognition test. Do you think that she liked what she was eating?
It definitely is trash. Yeah. I hate this.
Well, it's gotta be RageBait. She's just saying that she hates everything. yes and no. This creator does hate everything she eats, but I can explain why. Her username is Picky Eater Zach. She is an extremely picky eater. She reviews food items from popular fast food spots and never likes anything. Just absolutely despises these foods. Now, if you're not gonna say it, I'll go ahead and say it for you. This is the greatest concept for a food review channel ever designed. She is so funny, dude. Everyone asks her, why do you eat all this stuff if you clearly hate it? If I don't try it, how do I know if I'm gonna like it or not? The infinite ethical rage bait content glitch. Unlike the VIP list or other influencers who deploy outrage, I don't think that it corrupts her ability to be an honest reviewer. She is certainly consistent, and that's half the battle. She makes videos about food she actually enjoys, and it includes pizza that she picks the cheese off of, and that makes people really pissed off in the comment sections. But all she's doing is being herself on camera. And plus, let me tell you, from a marketing standpoint, there is no way in hell a place like Chipotle is going to pay this person to say that their food tastes like it's drenched in garbage water. And likewise, from what I've seen, there is no money in the world that can get her to even pretend to enjoy this food. And I think that she's coming at this from a good place. She's not trying to be objective. She's very transparent that she specifically hates food because she's a picky eater. It's there in her username. That relieves a lot of responsibilities demanded of ethical and principled food reviewing. I've also seen other extremely picky eaters find community in her comment sections. I think that's pretty cool as well. And if you are watching this and are getting pissed off, yeah, it might not be great for the viewer's mental health if they just watch stressful content in excess, but personally, I mainly gain joy from watching these videos. I'm just giggling the whole time. We've covered lots of forms of rage bait and outrage, entertainment that devalues credibility, weaponized outrage, rage bait that's just a tool to exact alleged blackmail. Now, all these forms, they have their weak spots, undeniable problems in their use. I'm having a hard time finding a problem with this form of rage bait, to be completely honest with you. This honestly seems like an exception to the rule. Perhaps the most forgiving and uncompromised form of rage baiting. Dare I say, ethical outrage content. A form of emotionally charged video making that doesn't affect the actual reviewer's conduct. An anti-influencer reviewer. In fact, guess what her bio says? De-influencer. And let me tell you, that is the perfect description for this channel. This is how it is supposed to work. Reviewers build a relationship with you. Yeah, being entertaining gets views, it's a part of it, but their job isn't first and foremost being entertaining. Their job is being reliable, show you their biases and preferences so you can understand what they like, and if you share their same tastes, then you would probably like what they like. However, influencers are supposed to get free swag from brands, and it is an industry standard for influencers to promote products that they don't care for in the slightest. I'm not trying to put down influencers for doing that. That's just the way the industry is. Don't hate the player, hate the game. But when you combine the food reviewers with influencers, you start to run into these problems. These things do not mix, like fundamentally. Picky Eater Zach's channel, by design, does not run into these problems. I mean, it's not ideal if she eats local food and says it tastes like dog buns, but there's that caveat. She's an extremely picky eater, so don't take it personally. I guess I also hope that she doesn't waste the food she doesn't like. I'm getting off track. The only way she could realistically compromise herself is by getting into unethical emotion capture. Like if she started being purposefully culturally insensitive or trashing and torturing small businesses for clout. Reminds me of someone who is not a good reviewer who we will soon be covering. Subtle foreshadowing. We talked about how consuming excess outrage content is harmful for your psyche, but it can also manifest itself into real world harm outside of that. Actual businesses can catch strays when attempts to capture attention get reckless. Who cares if it happens to McDonald's, right? Billion-dollar company. What do Wasil, the VIP list, Vincent, and Glamorama all have in common? The restaurants they antagonized were not billion-dollar companies, but they all immediately came out on top of the situation. The actions of these creators were irresponsible, but the power dynamics didn't make their actions downright financially endangering. However, when this kind of systematically infectious behavior enters the large creator sphere, and these creators are more outward with their behavior, unlike the Wasil case, it could close down restaurants. And I think it almost did. And this is all because food reviewers are presented as critics. Yet a lot of the time, they amass millions of followers without actually engaging in intellectual and principled food criticism. As a large creator, you have extra responsibility to not be outwardly inflammatory and reckless. But anyone can get famous on the internet. This is Life of Sean. You might be saying, I'm Irish, and that's not how you pronounce that name. I know. I've heard many people call him many different things. Although I found a video of someone saying his name out loud to him, it is Sean. Unless he's fucking with me, and if so, that is a genius 2000 IQ troll. You might have noticed that Sean makes the same kind of content that Wasil makes. Good observation, although I do gotta keep it real. Sean actually critiques the food sometimes. Sometimes he will say that something is a little dry. Sometimes he will say that he doesn't enjoy something at all. Sometimes he'll get a bunch of things from a restaurant and not like one item but enjoy everything else, which makes him eligible for the More Critical Than Wasil award. But unfortunately, that award is eligible for the Lowest Bar award. It seems as if his fan base enjoys this aspect of the deal. Well, here's some interesting information relating to keeping it real. A business called Spread Please reportedly had some troubles with Sean. This article tells us that Spread Please and Sean had a talk made up, and Spread Please took down an undetailed video that apparently was a bit of a call out. I don't know the full context of the video, but apparently it included this screenshot, which says that his rate for a single TikTok is $25,000. I can't access the original screenshot, only this screenshot of that video that I got from this creator's video exists. So this is not concrete, but it's the only number I could find, and the management company details do line up, which makes me believe that there's some truth here. Now, based on how many promotional content labels I see on his page, I'm not sure if keeping it real is achievable under these circumstances, but I will say I don't think that he charges for every single review, and we will get into that later. For now, I want to focus on his content. Now, Sean sometimes uploads long-form content, and this is where I really start to side-eye him a little bit. He stylistically dabbles in the right-wing YouTube journalist style of investigation videos similar to Tyler Oliveira. All I will say is, not a fan of those kind of videos. And I'm not a fan of this video either. I investigated Indian street food. Here's the thing about Indian street food. There are vendors with kitchens and workspaces that are very hygienic. These places are very easy to find. They are popular spots that locals frequent, in fact. But eating at these places is not good content, baby. You can't get hate comments on those videos. The solution is simple. There are also vendors who live in extreme poverty who do not engage in sanitary practices. Some Western creators make content where they seek out, react to, or even just repost these unsanitary vendors in order to rile up their audience. Folks who call sauce in Michelin star restaurants mystery sauce, perhaps. In my eyes, this video did kind of seem like Sean was making a circus show out of Indian poverty for outrage comments. And outrage comments he got. It's important to note that he is very young, 23 years old. Not an excuse, but I hope he's still learning. While the video concept itself is undeniably exploitative, and it gets the same viewers who watch all of this wonderful content, I do have to say that he seemed like he was trying to be respectful. I don't even think he spat anything out in this video, and he never seemed outwardly mean-spirited. But here's the problem. All of the sudden, he started doing exactly that, spitting out food on camera. Offense number one. So Sean and his buddy Vince Eats, who makes the same exact style of content that he makes, traveled out of the States to go on a little food tour. Wonder where they went.
All right, y'all, we're in Paris, trying every sushi.
Paris, you say? Sorry, I got a little excited there. I'll reel it in. I'm excited to watch some awesome content. So the video starts with Vince Eats retching on camera, which is gross. Seriously, why did you include that?
Now for this next spot, we found this one by accident.
Wanted some sushi, came here, ate last night, and now we all three got food poisoning. I'm not trolling either.
Food poisoning, huh? I've had food poisoning. It sucked. And speaking from experience, y'all had a miraculous recovery if the very next day you had the stomachs to eat the same food that made you ill.
That shit's so ass, bro.
Oh, hell no.
Spitting out food, huh? You want to know who I have never seen spit food out on camera? Picky Eater Zach. Why'd you put that on camera? That's gross. So apparently they went to 3 different sushi spots and every single one of them made them gag, retch, and apparently one of them even gave them food poisoning. I guess it's possible that something like that could happen. All I could say is I hope that they are keeping it real. I actually want to talk about the concept of keeping it real some more. From everything I've witnessed even before this trip, I feel safe in stating my opinion. These 2 individuals are not good at reviewing food. In fact, they are very bad at food criticism. And in this video, they were being disrespectful tourists. The reason why the locals hate Americans when they travel. Just because you are a popular mukbanger and people like to watch you eat the food does not mean that you are good at critiquing the food. It turns out being a good critic requires a fair deal of discipline, knowledge, and maturity. If you dislike something, you need to be able to properly articulate why you dislike it instead of just saying, ew, this tastes gross, patooey. A lot of mukbangers who seem to want to go into the territory of food reviewer, food critic, do not understand this. They sure do review the food, but they haven't built their critical analysis skills. So sometimes when they dislike something, maybe they don't know how to proceed. In other words, not all mukbang influencers have the correct tools to engage in principled food criticism. But that doesn't matter. Mukbang influencers still have a megaphone, and gosh darn it, they are going to use it. Hey, maybe it was a coincidence. Maybe all 3 sushi spots did serve them bad food. And if there was a controversy and fallout that happened after this video, it just wasn't on my radar. All I can hope is that they were being honest, none of these restaurants' reputations were unfairly harmed in the interest of chasing clout, and it doesn't happen again. Offense number 2. These 2 traveled to Japan, and it seems as if they are still being disrespectful tourists. At one point, they went to a restaurant that specializes in exotic meats. Why did you go here? No, like for real, why did you guys go here? Did you actually come to this restaurant with an open mind, excited to try new foods? Or was trying icky, gross food to spit out on camera just your idea for some good content? You know, I'm starting to sense a bit of a pattern here. Okay, moving on to the incident that got them in trouble. They went to a dessert cafe. This dessert cafe is run by an elderly Japanese man who makes a specific style of pudding. They only sell about 50 of these a day. And when the owner prepares the pudding, he's really saucy with it. He's really like, seriously, look at that. I love this Japanese man. You have to be particularly nasty to be rude and disrespectful to this 80-year-old man who runs a dessert cafe all by himself, even if you don't like his food. He was rude to the cafe owner, wasn't he? God damn it. One of their popular items is called purit. It's like a creme caramel or a flan, but it's its own thing, really. It traditionally has a bitter caramel component. And I've heard that Americans eating Japanese sweets sometimes don't really like it because not everything is as wildly sweet as it is here in the States. Sean went to this dessert cafe, ordered the pudding, and spit it out multiple times on camera. He is an adult, by the way.
Just imagine your old grumpy grandpa making the worst flan of your life. Oh, heck.
And mind you, unlike the sushi in Paris, it wasn't because of the supposed quality of the food, it was because he didn't like the taste. Let me say that again. This is all because the bitter pudding tasted bitter. Sounds like he just ordered the wrong thing, something he dislikes, and gave them an unfair rating, even though he has this bias. He also kept on calling it flan, which is like, come on, dude, do some research. It's most definitely similar to a flan, but it's not supposed to taste like a traditional flan. When I see a so-called food critic fail to do that important research, I immediately lose faith in them. You know what's really obnoxious? Sean was spitting out this man's food in his own restaurant and decided to still approach him to get a video with him. Like, damn, what is this guy, a supervillain? Evidently, he did not learn his lesson. Offense number 3. These 2 went to a sandwich cart, and Sean spit out one of the sandwiches because the meat was cold. I've never heard of cold cuts of meat on a sandwich before. That's certainly unorthodox. An immediate emotional outburst right when the viewer would normally swipe away. Are we really supposed to believe that this has nothing to do with rage bait? He is spitting out food so often that I am beginning to welcome the possibility that This might be a little bit more than rage bait, if you know what I mean. Offense number 4. Here's the climax for this trip, where things get potentially dangerous for innocent parties. Sean and Vince went to a barbecue food truck called Slice of Life. Now, I've seen quite a lot of creators allege that Sean got $160 worth of free food and showed up 2 days earlier without telling them that he's bringing Vince. I couldn't verify any of that. All I'll say is I don't think it's true, and I will explain why later. Now again, he's young, he's inexperienced, he's learning, but this review was a hard watch. Not because he spit his food out like a child, but because he just has such a bland articulation of his critical thoughts. It's just painful, man.
Let's go to the pork ribs. These ones aren't Wagyu.
Okay. The pork ribs are indeed not A5 beef Wagyu. That is some real attention to detail. One of his main critiques was that the coffee barbecue sauce tasted like coffee. It sounds like this guy just can't handle nor appreciate the complexities of bitter food components, which is fair, but that's your own shortcoming, not the restaurant's. The important thing here is that Sean's little stomach bug seems far from cured. In fact, based on the context leading up to this moment, I believe that this is when he feels solidified in believing that he is the viral spit the food out mukbanger. He does it again. He spits out the food.
No, we in Japan, so they gotta go top quality. This is their A5 Wagyu brisket.
Yo, come
Is A5 supposed to taste like that?
Dude, what is that noise? Hold on, replay that. Is that his cameraman? Is A5 supposed to taste like that, he asks. And there's a very obvious implication here. He's spitting food out while saying it doesn't taste right. How am I, the viewer, not supposed to take that as him suggesting that the food is spoiled or dangerous to eat? Mind you, this video is still up and viewable on his TikTok page. This is also just painfully obvious rage bait. You could see it in his eyes before he spits it out. He pauses for a second and looks directly at the camera as if he's doing a cheeky, is he gonna do it gag. It's not a problem that he didn't enjoy the food, and if he did get the food for free, that's genuinely respectable. That would mean at the very least he's more principled than anyone else who sells the reviews. But judging how he has conducted himself thus far, I'm assuming he didn't get this for free, and maybe that has something to do with why he's spitting out all of this food. His standard content hasn't thus required careful and intentional criticism, because careful and intentional criticism doesn't get as much revenue and views. Eating viral food gets views, and it's what he's used to. If we use a little logic, there are two reasonable explanations for why this whole thing happened. Either he is spitting food out when it tastes icky, which is a sign of immaturity and incompetence when it comes to food reviewing, or he is doing this for rage views, which is also a sign of immaturity and reckless behavior that any food critic worth their weight in salt would lose sleep over. Either way, this is the core problem. He is going about this wrong. He is good at making viral mukbang videos. You can't take that away from him. But he's really bad at actually reviewing the food he's eating. If he was good, he would find a way to go viral without doing all of this. And critical reviewers go viral without doing this all the time. Pair that with a huge audience. We're talking millions and millions of views. Tons of people who are now going out of their way to avoid this place at all costs. Luckily, this situation blew up. There was controversy surrounding it. Foodies and critics who appreciate Japanese cuisine went out of their way to give this place a try, and surprise, surprise, most of everybody very much enjoyed it. But what would have happened if there wasn't a huge fallout from this? What would have happened if the internet just moved on, kind of like how it moved on with the sushi restaurants? Who knows? This food truck could have struggled. Maybe it would have been what closes their doors. Either way, with this Japan trip, he flopped hard and pissed off the real deal foodies. They both flopped so hard that himself and Vince posted apology videos. With all due respect, these two might want to stick to reviewing double-decker California burritos from huge restaurants that may or may not pay them thousands of dollars to review their food. And yet, most people would consider them reviewers, critics, valued voices of influence in the restaurant world. And this is perhaps what is most troubling about the current state of online food reviewing. This has the power to change culinary culture, and I kind of think it already has been changing it. Imagine all of the stuff that's going to get swept under the rug because these influencers don't actually care about finding finding underrepresented food. Some big creators do care about this stuff, but they get buried by the mountains of outrageous spectacle and dishonesty. And because of this, negativity and scornful patterns are going to have an impact on culinary culture as well. Somehow even more than it already has. This is just one niche, by the way. Desperate battles for your emotions are infecting every single corner of the internet, scattering around the kitchen like critters in that one Pixar movie. I forgot the fucking name. I'm incapable of finding the ultimate solution to this problem, but I can offer 2 recommendations that I think could help. 1. Diversify your reviews and discovery. Some of the best restaurants are yet to be widely discovered, and they likely don't pay for people to review their food nor engage in algorithm tricks that make you sick and miserable. We need to value at least some offline sources of opinions, even if discoverability in this fashion is lined with friction. 2. The internet is inescapable. This video is not very likely to get you off the internet entirely. So at the very least, you should recognize these elements of the outrage economy. Recognize when it's entertainment and thus of less critical value, like with the VIP list. Recognize its weaponization and accountability entertainment, like with Vincent and his breakfast sandwich. Recognize all the ways the concept of reviewing can be used for harm on the internet, such as alleged blackmail with Glamorama and potentially business shuttering irresponsibility with Life of Sean. And hopefully this should get you all extremely picky with whose opinions you value, like as picky as picky eaters act. People who you trust to give you their thoughts instead of advertisements. You might think that this is a bug in the system, that algorithms aren't working properly. No, I think this is an evolution of the attention economy. I think that everything is working as designed. I think opinions losing value is a natural progression. And what's more concerning, the performance of opinions and how marketable that opinion is starting to get a lot more valuable. We are losing our voices, and the last thing we should do is let our guards down. Cleanse yourself of the rage bait. I did in a sense, and I'm much happier. That's enough preaching from me. I now have a very hoarse voice and a hankering to watch a 2007 CGI animated film that takes place in Paris. Let me know who your favorite character is from the hit Pixar original film Ratatouille in the comments. Thank you again to my patrons, and have a wonderful day, everyone.